Yes, guys, what is going on? Welcome back to another Sorare video. Today, lads, we're going to be going over my Sorare 26 strategy. I've had a few weeks I think we all have had a few weeks to digest the multiple blog posts, the multiple video explanations and whatever else that's gone on over these last couple of months, in the off season, because there's been a lot of changes. I've made a couple of videos over the last couple of weeks, just going through the updates, on my channel. And I've just taken time to really, digest, what I think's best going into this season, as far as how to attack in season, if that's, if you're looking to play that, as well as classic or either or. I've come up with a bit of a strategy that right now I'm sticking to. We'll see how that sort of transpires once cards start coming out, because I think Belgium cards launch next week. I'm filming this on Sunday, so I don't think they come out. Maybe they do come out tomorrow, but they definitely come out next week at some point. And then after that, I can't remember the next set of leagues that actually come out. But the European leagues are going to be starting up pretty soon. So I thought it was best to just put into the ecosystem what I think, not what I think's optimal, but for me, what I think I had to do to get ready for this new season. So if you do enjoy, please do leave it a like. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. If you are interested in becoming a member of my channel, it does go a long way in supporting what I do here on the channel and stuff. And it keeps the lights on, of course. I think it's £3.99 a month potentially. I haven't checked it in a few months, so I think that's the price, or $3.99. Get you into the private Discord. Gallery reviews every month. I was building lineups twice a week actually, but since there's no Sorare data, I can't do that right now. So, obviously I'm on hand to answer any questions or anything if you're new to the game. So, consider that. No pressure. Let's get into my strategy then for Sorare 26. So I've used Figma because I like pictures of my cards rather than names. I know there's a lot of Excel sickos in the community, which I get. I get the whole Excel thing, but I like looking at my cards. I like visualizing, the players and stuff and getting it on record that way, which, everyone works in different ways, whatever, right? Basically what I've done here on Figma, I've just gone over, basically tried to extract every possible classic smasher I think I could use going into the new season for each of the single league competitions. So we're going to have Ligue 1 French League. It's going to have its own comp, as is the Prem, La Liga, Bundesliga, the Eredivisie, and the Belgium League. They all have streaks in Rare. They don't in Super Rare Unique. They do in Limited as well. I'm personally concentrating on Rare and Rare and then probably Super Rare Unique as well, as far as in season goes. I play like limited MLS right now and whatever, but that's just besides the point. This is Sorare 26, of course, and I've basically sort of copied in from my Sorare gallery. We'll be referencing this as well, in the video. But these are basically my best cards from each league that I think not every week are going to be an option for me, but most weeks these guys will have good opportunities to score well for me as the classic smasher, because in the new Sorare 26, we were allowed to use one classic last year, but this year they've introduced streaks, and the highest streak is like 4,000 in Premier League, for example. If you hit it, of course, it's very hard to do that. But the more teams you have and the better quality of your classic cards, the chances are it's going to increase the probability of you hitting those higher streaks and even the lower streaks, right? Because single league comps are going to be tough to hit streaks in. Let me just tell you that for a fact. Going to be very, very hard. It's hard to get, unless you're PSG, where you've got like Hakimi, you've got like 7 players you could probably choose every week. Unless you're buying an in-season PSG stack, it's just so hard to get enough fixtures in a row. 5 in a row is what you need, really. I know you can skip a week, which does help in a way, but then you're also giving up opportunities on the leaderboard. So it's good and it's bad, but anyway. There's like certain situations where unless you have incredible PSG in season depth and you've got 4 lineups of it, then you're giving yourself the best chance every week, because they've got good matchups basically every week in the league. I know it's hard to predict the rotation sometimes, of course, but that's besides the point. So for me, the opportunity this off season has been, can I accumulate as many classic smashers for a reasonable price as I possibly can to head into the in-season to head into Sorare 26, to where I have the opportunity, if I think prices are cheap or cheaper in La Liga, for example, than they are in Prem, which I think will be the case, then maybe I should deploy my Isco, Vinny and Pedri, for example. You know, like, I'm giving myself the chance here. Now, I know I've got like 5 in some columns, even 7 in others in Liga, and only 3 in the Liga and 3 in Bundesliga. I'm going to need to add to that, I think. Like, just having 3 smasher options is probably not enough. Like, I probably need a little bit more than that, although Kimmich being like probably the best classic card you can get, maybe besides Elise in the Bundesliga, but I still need a little bit more. I need quality, but I also need a bit more depth in those 2 leagues heading into the season. I've got probably a couple of days to do that. Over the last few days, I've improved my Eredivisie classic smasher type of players. I brought in a Joey Veerman yesterday, Maro Jr. as well, defender card. I've had Saibari all season. Cherry's gone back to NEC, where he came from. So he was at NEC, went to Antwerp last season, back to NEC, and obviously he's getting on a bit, but he's still a smasher. Like, the guy's a very good player. And yeah, I bought an extra one of him. I had one already. So, I've given myself a chance there with, I know, 4 players, but 5 technically with the double up. I've got other Eredivisie cards, like I can show you. If we went over to Sorare, I still have like tons of other cards. These were just like the standouts from my gallery right now. Like, for example, I bought a Sanjay Hansen rare. I have his super rare, but whatever. Babadi. Like, I've taken a few punts as well on under 23 cards, because I like under 23. Now, this is not me saying like I won't play under 23. This is just me going over my in-season sort of plans, basically. Like that. This is nothing to do with under 23. This is nothing to do with classic. I know they're classic cards, but this is my plans for the in-season side of Sorare 26, just to make that clear if it wasn't already. There's the Cherry I bought 8 days ago. Like, I've got a Wellenreuther, but I don't think he's going to start. Van Rouge was pretty good all season. Who else do we have? Jacob Moda was pretty good for Feyenoord after he moved from Brighton. So, like, I do have other cards. I just haven't really included like everyone, because I try to just distinguish, who are the guys I can count on most weeks. El Karauni was pretty good last season. I've got Oduro, who's the AZ keeper. I haven't really put too many keepers on this classic smashers like rare list, to be honest, or if any. I haven't put any keepers on. Now, of course, I have classic goalkeepers in most of these leagues, and I'm not saying like you shouldn't play the goalkeeper as your classic card. Like, if you do 4 on 1, you have classic keeper and then 4 outfielder in season cards. I'm not saying that won't work, but the chances are, like, it's probably cheaper to buy the in-season goalkeeper and then buy the classic outfielder smasher. For example, Joey Veerman. If he's going to be the Joey Veerman of old, I bought him last night for, £37. If he is, like, super Joey Veerman type of, scores where, going back last year and the year before, like, I know he did it, a little bit, but it wasn't consistent enough. But, like, Joey Veerman was like this for a long time. Like, if he does those sort of scores, like, his in-season card's going to probably be, I'm just guessing, £200 to £300, maybe more, right? So I'm paying like 10x less for the classic. I'd argue I could get the, the in-season keeper plus Joey Veerman classic for less than what I would pay for the classic keeper and the in-season Joey Veerman, if that makes any sense. So yeah, I do have other options. I'm not saying those are my only, like, the cards I have on Figma right here, showing you that they're not the only cards I have, but they're the cards that I feel pretty comfortable in relying on, as far as those classic smasher spots, because we have 4 spots, like 4 in season. We could have 4 in season teams basically. So I couldn't even play all 5 of these. I know Cherry's the same player twice, but I couldn't play all 5 of them in my in season lineups if I had 4 from the Eredivisie. But I'm just telling you that having surplus, having more than 4 options is not a bad thing, especially if they're good cards. Same in Belgium. Last few days, I brought in a Dan Heymans, who moved from Charleroi to Genk, and Adam Zorgan, who moved from Charleroi to USG, to Union Saint Gallois, who, I think he could be one of the better scorers in the league. I already had the Lord Hans van Aken for since last season. I was using him as my classic smasher, and I had a Genk stack, so I've got 5% on these Smets and Stoikers, which is, I think, going to be really helpful. Like, I think that Stoikers is on, he'll lose his 5% like season bonus because the league's going to finish, but he's on like 17% right now. As soon as the league finishes, he'll be on 12, which is still pretty good. But the whole point for me, like, I've been pretty patient in picking up these classic smasher cards for like what I think is pretty cheap, because I've tried to get ones with good XP. Like, for example, I bought this Dan Heymans. I think he was on like 7 XP when I bought him. I got a bit of collection bonus on him, and I think I leveled him up as well or something. But yeah, like, I'm being pretty fussy with the classics I'm picking up. Same for Zorgan. I know Zorgan's an old in-season card, if that makes sense. So, like, he has a lot of cards I just bought off the bought off Sorare basically as collection pieces, so he'll be like 7% once the season kicks in. And yeah, I've been fussy. Like I haven't really dove into too many cards without them having like a decent amount of XP. The Joey Veerman I bought yesterday was on, sorry, was it yesterday or today? Yeah, yesterday, 19 hours ago. Was on 7%, and then I bought a couple more Eredivisie, well, PSV cards from that collection to get him 2% right now, so he's at 9. I could spend a bit of XP and get him up to 10%. But yeah, like I've been pretty fussy with the cards I have brought in as far as like the classics go, just because I want them to have high XP. The more XP they have, the more points they're going to score, right? As long as they, as raw players score a decent amount of points. So I've been pretty picky in that sense. Like I'm not saying don't bother buying classic cards if they don't have high XP, but if you can, find them with higher XP. Like that's just a better thing to do. I've had Kimmich for a while, Upamecano the same. Palacios I've brought in because, he's like £15. He might move, which would obviously throw a spanner in the works. But for 15 quid, I know he's pretty hard to like distinguish when he's going to play and stuff. But he can be, a really good player. And I did win a Florian Wirtz in this collection last year. So I'm on 2% collection right now with a couple of other players. So yeah, I thought it was, I needed more Bundesliga cards. I still probably need more Bundesliga cards. Going through my Bundesliga cards here, Matsima maybe you would probably fit into that. Bohoya's a decent player. Bruno Lage went to St. Pauli, I think. I can't remember. Not Bruno Lage, Mateus Pereira Lage. Honorat I'd bought in for £5 just in case he pops off now and again. Like I do have other cards. I have a Vasil, I have a few keepers. I have a couple of Tom Bischoffs. I don't think he's going to really play. Aliash Garcia might be a bit better now. Maybe the Wirtz is gone. I'm not holding my breath. Rocco Rita won I crafted a few months ago as well, so he could be, he could be viable on certain matchups. So I'm not saying like those are my only 3 that I'll ever pick, but those are the ones that kind of stand out to me. That's just I'm just trying to nail that point home. La Liga, you could probably argue I'm a little bit thin right now as well. I've had Vinny for years. I won Vinny and Pedri actually years ago, and then I got Isco in on a nice little. I did a deal for my Rodrigo Super Rare, which I got rid of. I do have a Rodrigo Rare as well. This is actually a Jersey Mint Isco, which I'm really happy about. I didn't notice it was a Jersey Mint when I got him, but yeah, I did this bit of a monster trade actually a few days ago. I got rid of my Rodrigo and I brought in a ton of these super rare cards, a couple of rares, obviously a Harry Wilson in there, and a bit of ETH on top to get rid of my Rodrigo, just because I don't know where Rodrigo's going to end up, and even if he does end up into a decent champ situation, I don't think I'm going to play champ super rare. So yeah, I was just better off sort of crystallizing him and sort of getting cards all over the place basically, as in a trade and a bit of ETH. So it worked out really well. We've got Prem as well. I brought in a João Pedro yesterday. I think he's probably more of an under 23 shout for me, but I thought I'd Prem in here just in case. Like he could be not elite. Well, I say that I don't want to sort of count him out, to be honest, because he really could be like very good. And the only reason, again, I bought this specific João Pedro, and I wasn't really in the market for one, but I saw one up for like 37 quid, and I was like, I do have a Brighton collection in this year, and I didn't have his cards. I was a bit like, I've been suckered in. He had 7% XP when I bought him, and obviously adding in that 3% collection bonus, he's a 10% João Pedro. Yeah, I can play him in under 23, which if I need to. But yeah, I feel like my Prem stuff's okay. I'm not sort of dead set on wanting to play Prem in season, but the big thing with this new Sorare 26, I'll touch on the classic side of things right now, is that of course we don't have single league comps, right? We don't have single league Premier League Classic, which is a different question why that's not there or not. But what I mean by this is we've got Champ Classic. Of course, it's SO7, so you're going to need more classic cards, more classic quality and depth. But what I mean is, if you are playing Champ Classic, you could win a card from Bundesliga, Prem, La Liga, Liga. Like, you don't have any control of where that card comes from. So the whole thought process in me sort of, I am kind of spreading myself thin in the sense of I'm preparing to play any of the in-season Champ competitions as well as Eredivisie in Belgium, but just forget those for now. If you just look at those sort of 4. If I am playing Champ Classic, beginning the start of the season, I do win a couple of cards. I don't know where they're going to fall, do I? I don't know where they're going to come from as far as the league. So that's why I really want to just have good options in each individual league, to where if I do win a couple of Prem players, and then I only need to buy two or three, or just call it two, and I stick say if I win a Jordan Pickford in-season goalkeeper, right? Then I win a defender, whoever, Tarkovsky, whatever. So I've got two in-season, goalkeeper, defender. I play my Florian Wirtz as my classic smasher. Then I only need a forward and an extra player, and I'm playing in-season Prem, But what I'm saying is I can't forecast where these card wins are going to come from league-wise if I do win cards in Champ. So, for me, I think it's best to just have you don't have to have a blueprint everywhere, but if you've already got the bones of an existing blueprint everywhere, like I did, because I was playing most of these cards last year, I added a few of them in the off-season, especially in Eredivisie and Belgium. I don't think it's a bad thing in having depth in all the leagues, and then wherever you end up winning cards, you've already got a long-standing bit of depth there already, and quality that can come in and be your in-season, your classic smasher card in season. Now going over to Ligue 1, Ligue 1's probably the comp where I have the most quality. To be honest, this Neil El Naouni, however you pronounce it, he might be moving to Roma, so we might have to X him off the list. But I brought in a couple of. I had a Benjamin Andre towards the end of last season, but I brought in another one. I'm only showing one on screen right now, but I do have two. They're really cheap. He might be moving as well, actually, to Paris FC, but that's another story. Pierre Lesmelou was a bit of a smasher back in his day. I think he was £6 I paid for him. I'm just going to go over to Sorare just to show you, because like I said, I do have more cards than this. I have a 5% Nice collection. I've put Klaus on there. I've got a 15% Klaus. Nuno Mendes is obviously, doing really well right now. He's my only PSG, I was going to say cover, but it's not cover, is this exposure. I do have Zaya Emery, but obviously he's not really a starter right now. But as you can see, I paid £3 for a Benjamin Andre 18 days ago. I don't know what he's really going for now. I don't know. No one's really bought him since July 3rd. I did buy a Buanahi because I think he's going to be a really good under-23 player next year. But again, I've doubled up on him just because I have that Nice collection. I brought Bombito in nearly 30 days ago now just because I didn't have him in my Nice collection. There's that other Andre. I've got a Beraldo, to be fair, from PSG, but again, he's not really going to be a dead starter. I did put Guri on there, didn't I? Yeah, so I've got Guri and Greenwood, who are obviously the Marseille boys. Lucas Perry, we'll see what happens there. Kipri, I think, moved to Ipswich. Disregard him. Gassand, we don't know where he's going. Laborde's gone to Saudi. I've got two Sofian Diops. Again, anything could happen with him. I'm very happy the Diouf's gone to Nice just because I have that Nice collection, and I also started a Reims collection last year, and that's where, of course, Diouf went, and of course Bolka's gone to Saudi, which is fucking annoying. But whatever, right? There's the other Buanahi. Perrin's left. I got two Perrins, which is again really annoying. I do have a Valentin Barco. I probably should have put him in the list because he could be really interesting. I wouldn't be scared to use him as my classic smasher next year. Again, under 23, so it doubles up as potentially an under 23 card. We don't know what's happening with Bizot. Serio's decent now and again. There's the Klaus Boga. We don't know what happens with him. Obviously, all the Nice boys. Perrin. I've got two Klauses. So I do think Ligue 1 is probably where I'm most right now happy to play as far as the in-season specific league comps in Sorare 26. Again, purely because I have the most depth there. I'm going to have the most options each week. And I think as a league goes, there's more decently scoring players each week compared to Prem. Where Liverpool and there's only a select few good fixtures every weekend just because of how balanced the Premier League is, right? Where Ligue 1, I know PSG are miles ahead. You got then Monaco, Nice, and Marseille, for example. There's a little cohort of really good teams. Might not be as expensive as the PSG boys. And they can all do really well on the day. Even Lille's Benjamin Andre can score really well, where I'm not saying that doesn't happen in the Prem, but it's just less likely to happen, especially having those fixture correlations work out well. So right now on paper in rare, I do think Ligue 1's probably the top of my priority list before knowing the prices of these cards. Prices could just be astronomical for that league for that reason, and maybe I'll just get priced out of it. So, I'm just being cautious there, but I think Ligue 1's probably got my heart right now. I say second to that would probably have to be Bundesliga, even though on paper I probably aren't as strong depth-wise, but having the Kimmich, he's a high-level Kimmich as well. It's I don't know, he's almost level 10, and I think I will have 3% collection bonus on him really soon. So yeah, he's 11% right now, level 9, sorry, but I'm so close to the collection thing, which I want to link into this. So I'm 30 points away from collection points. I think it's July 15th or July 25th, the 90-day card listing thing is turning to 30 days, and it's going from 10 points to 20. So you're going to get 10 more points from all these cards that you've been holding for a while, meaning that I'll blitz 3%. I might be close to 4% on him. Like having a 4% Kimmich at 10, nearly level 10 is going to be like huge, right? Like he's basically the best card you can have in Champ. So I do really want to utilize that if I can in Bundesliga. And again, with the Bundesliga, I know Bayern are Bayern, but there's still other good scorers from other leagues, from other teams, in that league. I have, as 3 players go, Isco, Vinny and Pedri is a very concentrated, solid 3 as far as classic smashes go. I just don't know how viable, like price-wise, Real Madrid and Barcelona cards are going to be in the streaks for in-season, Sorare 26. I'm not saying you can't win, you can't win things with other cards outside of, Barca and Real, but as a league, it's just very concentrated in like Atletico, Barca, Real, and then everyone else kind of just scores a bit meh. There's a few decent scorers like obviously Betis and Isco, but very few and far between. Whereas like Liga, there's probably like 7 or 8 clubs you could probably pick. Premier League, like, yeah, there's obviously some really good teams in the Prem, really good scorers, but I don't think they're like as spread out as everyone thinks they are. Bundesliga, I think they're relatively spread out outside of Bayern, and then we obviously get to the Eredivisie in Belgium, which I think are going to be really exciting. I think price for these cards, I know Belgium comes out first, so like the in-season cards, so those cards could go for a pretty penny, just because they're first out. We saw it last season where like Contender cards came out, and the prices of like Celtic cards were astronomical, just because they came out first. They came out before the champ cards. So yeah, Belgium comes out first this year. We'll see what the prices are like for them. I am really interested in trying to get into in-season Eredivisie and Belgium at rare level, just because I do have a decent footprint in both, probably stronger in Belgium. But again, I'm not sort of scared to play the Eredivisie, to be honest, especially now that I've brought in a few of the PSG lads. I'm not expecting PSG to be like unbelievable. They're losing a lot of players. They've lost Tillman. They're going to lose Bakayoko. They've lost Bosagli. They've lost their keeper. Like, I think Feyenoord will probably have a very good season, as will probably FC20. Like, there is other players, that you can look into and stuff. But yeah, at the same time, like, I think I'm okay there without being like incredibly, I don't think is depthful a word. I can't be bothered checking if it is or not, but I'm going to say it. I just don't have a ton of depth, but I have probably enough to get by. Where in Belgium, I have a good amount of depth, and it's like really concentrated in like high XP Zorgans and Vanekens and Stoikers and Smets, for example. And obviously that Heyman's, like, I'm pretty confident in the Belgium side of things. So yeah, that's kind of my thinking with the rare side of things. Now, of course, like I said, I am going to be playing classic, under 23, for example, right? That's a given. I've got like over nearly 800 rare cards at this point. So like I do have a ton of depth at this point, and I'm not saying I've had to buy as well. Like I've had to buy cards over the last couple of weeks just to give myself like a really, good chance of getting the classic smashes that I just didn't have before. These are all my under 23 keepers going into the new season. The ones that are going to start, what we're looking at, Bart. Ika Alvarez actually might start this season. He's gone to someone in La Liga 2. But like, yeah, Bart. I don't know what's happening with Cavallina, but Trubin probably starts, doesn't he? I think this Ovi, actually, this Midtjylland player, I'm pretty sure he's going to go start somewhere. I think it's in the same league, in the Danish league. I could be wrong, though. Duro starts for AZ. What else have we got going on? Nothing there as far as I'm aware. I've got 2 Dennis Siemens, yeah, and he's apparently going to start for somebody in Bundesliga 2. I can't remember, but he's gone on loan from Stuttgart. So I've got like more than enough under 23 keepers. I've got a few MLS ones as well. So yeah, like I've got enough depth to get by, I think, in under 23 classic, even though it's gone to SO7. So you are going to need more players. It's just a fact, right? And you're going to need more stronger players, right? You're going to need stronger scoring cards, because everyone else is going to have stronger scoring cards. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about under 23 without being like overly excited, just because it is SO7. There's going to be a lot of, there's going to be just rotations, DMP risks and whatever, which exists in the game anyway, but it is what it is. And yeah, like I said, this video is mainly talking about the in-season scenario for Sorare 26. But of course, if I play under 23 Classic, SO7, and win cards, I'm going to win in season cards, right? So it all kind of, I mean, yeah, you use Classic cards to win in season cards, you use in season cards to win cash. That's obviously the way it on paper should go, but like I don't it's not as easy on paper. Yeah, you think you're gonna win loads of cards with your Classic cards, but Classic is gonna be an absolute cesspool. Like there's just gonna be so many lineups, so many people competing. Everyone's got 4 lineups. It's gonna be a bloodbath. It's gonna be an absolute bloodbath. So for me, like I'm not holding my breath, although I do have some good, Classic under 23 cards. I still don't think I'm not just going to walk it for the first few weeks and win Judes and win Sakas and whatever in Classic under 23. I'm not under any illusion that that's not going to happen. So, we'll see how we get on first few weeks with under 23s, and then if we need to make a few additions, we make a few additions. But I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. I've bought a few cards over the last few days, just a few punts. Not the João Pedro's a punt, but like Babadi, he might break through at PSV. Sonjay Hansen, like I said, I've got his super rare, so I'm well aware of how good he is. But just wanted to get a rare in there, just for like I said, everyone's gonna have 4 lineups, right? So if you've got the cards, I want to be able to put out as many lineups as possible, right? Or many good lineups as possible is the idea. I've got a Savio, I've got an Elanga that could go in the Prem one as well, which I didn't put in there just because Elanga hadn't moved. And yeah, Savio, you just don't know when he's going to play, do you? Same for Turkey, I guess, because I do have a high-level Turkey in there. And I guess I should have put Franjo in the Belgian one as well, if Franjo's going to stay, because I do have him in the Super Rare one, which I'll touch upon at this, at the end of this video. But yeah, I just think it's a good idea to have, high XP Classic cards spread across, whatever league, you want to play in. Just give yourself that opportunity. If you do win, if you do come into in-season cards, having the opportunity to play them and pair them with Classic Smashers that have high XP, I just don't think it just can't be a bad thing, because the prices of some of these cards that they've been going for compared to their in-season card, like, look, no one knows, right? But like, let's just do Hans Van Aken. He's probably an easy one to do. In rare, I think he's at like 30 quid. I could be £33 for the cheapest one you can buy right now. Now next week the in-season Van Akens are going to come out. How much are we expecting a Hans Van Aken to go for next week? I mean, I'd like to think the in-season card goes for a couple times more than the Classic. Whether that's 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, I don't know. But I'd like to think that the Classic card is going to be significantly cheaper than the in-season card, meaning that utilizing that one Classic card just brings the overall spend down so much more than it would be if you had 5 in-season cards. Now, I know there's collection bonuses and stuff, and having 5 in-season cards is not a bad thing, like, at all, if you can afford it, but you don't need to afford it. Like, you can just use a Classic card. Yeah, they might have a bit less XP in certain scenarios, but, for example, like, my Kimmich being on 11-12% start of the season, there's not going to be any in-season Kimmiches on 11-12% start of the season, really. So for a few weeks, my Classic Kimmich is better than an in-season one from a XP perspective. Of course, that in-season one is going to take it over because it would just climb up the earlier levels quicker, where Kimmich is fully grown in that sense, unless I just buy more collection pieces to get him to 15% eventually. But yeah, that's my... I feel like I've just rambled there, but I hope that kind of makes sense with my plan for the in-season stuff. And then for the Super Rare unique stuff, now, I've got... How many Super Rares do I have? I have 173 Super Rares and 2 uniques. And yeah, over the last month or so since... So I bought these both before the last update, where they reverse that like Super Rare and unique and Classic are going to be separate. But the in-season, uniques, Classic uniques count as an in-season Super Rare for whatever league you're going to play him in. So Gramil plays in the Eredivisie. Obviously, Guy is at Valencia, and he's going to act as one of my in-season cards for in-season La Liga if I do choose to go over there. Because my dilemma is, lads, obviously I've got a Super Rare Yamal. Now, of course, he's under 23, so I can play. I could play under 23 with him, but I just feel like I don't think I could complement him enough in under 23 Super Rare. Not to say I don't have like good Super Rare under 23 cards, but I don't have like insane ones to where I think it makes sense to play my Yamal there. So I really like these are my forwards going into next season. Hansen, Franjo. There's some decent ones here, don't get me wrong. But Yamal sticks out like a sore thumb. So I just think, the only options are either sell him, which might not be a bad idea, or I go and play in-season La Liga. Now, of course, there's going to be a significant outlay there because I'm probably going to have to buy a couple of in-season Super Rares, maybe even an in-season Unique if I want to get the bonuses. Because with the Super Rare Unique stuff, basically, if I play, let's just move Gaia. If I played Yamal as my forward, Gaia as my defender, so he counts as an in-season Super. Say I had an in-season Super Rare Keeper here, then I had an in-season Super Rare Mid, and then I had an in-season Unique Extra Player, I would get, say if I won the La Liga comp, which I think is 4k at the top, I would actually earn 8k because Gaia counts as 20% boost and the in-season Unique counts as 80% boost. Had I had all in-season Uniques though, it would be like 5x or something. You're doing like 20 grand, but that's different, right? I'm doing this on a budget with obviously Yamal and Gaia and stuff. Of course, if I didn't want to play Yamal, I could play Huijsen as like a double defense, but I don't think I'll really do that much. It's probably going to be, Yamal and Gaia most weeks. Now, look, I'm not like blessed with, capital to where I can go buy like loads and loads of super, in-season Uniques for that matter, in-season Super Rares. It's all going to be dependent on price. Like if the La Liga cards come out at Super Rare and Unique and I'm just like, fucking hell, I can't scratch the surface here with the prices they're going for, then I might have to look to sell the guy and even maybe the Yamal. The backup plan with Yamal is obviously I can play him in Champ Super Rare if I wanted to for Classic, but I don't have a Champ Keeper as we speak. And then I could play him in under 23. Whereas Gaia, like he's kind of shelved, isn't he? Really, like if I don't play La Liga Super Rare Unique, Gaia's kind of useless. Like I might as well just sell him. So that's like it's not a pipe. Is it pipeline dream? Pipe dream? I don't know what the saying is, but yeah, it's not too far fetched of a thought for me to want to play La Liga Super Rare Unique. But at the same time, like I'm not like, oh my god, it's my bread and butter. Like Rare is still my bread and butter, but I'm working my way into Super Rare, of course. And then the other two Super Rare comps that I want to play is obviously the Eredivisie in Belgium, because I do have a decent footprint there. I don't have a classic Unique in Belgium yet. That might change, but I don't have one yet. I did buy that Leo Gramel. I paid like 50 quid for him, lads. I paid 50 quid for him. This was like as soon as the news broke that like Unique Super Rare was, merging and everyone was just fuming. 50 quid for him, 134 for the Gaia, and he's under 23. So like I could play him in Super Rare U23 if I needed to, but at the same time, like we'll see. But I mean, as you can see last season, now I wouldn't always go off last season's scores, but Neckbrada were a pretty decent team. I only think they'll probably get better if he can stay fit. There's a decent scorer there. Like he's not bad at all. And then pairing him with either like a Verdonk, a Timber when he's fit, Maro Jr. for PSV, of course. I do have this Hidi Jurgis, who I think could be the Groningen first team keeper. I could be wrong. I've only got him because I crafted him a few months ago. Again, I do have other Eredivisie cards in Super Rare, as you can see here. I got an Andreev. I don't think he's going to start, but like Toomstra, I think just went to Sparta. Didi Leon, I don't know what's going to happen with him. I hope he doesn't stay at Willem too, but we'll see. Julian Bass. Obviously Sanjay Hansen, El Karauni can smash on his day. So, I'm not blessed with the best. Like I don't have like a Jovium and Supra or anything, but I do have enough, I think, to where with the Unique I've already got, and then maybe a classic Super Rare Smasher. I'm only 3 cards away then from playing in season Eredivisie Unique Super Rare, right? Like I'm not a million miles off. For Belgium, I'm a little bit further away. Although I have a ton of goalkeepers here. I just brought in this De Wolf. Somebody offered me a swap for my Kaminsky a few days ago, so I took that. Nazawa, we'll see if he starts, but again, obviously he's under 23, as is Toblason. Again, we'll see if he moves, because there is rumours of that, but like Franjo is a smash on his day. Haynen's okay, but like we've got the Lord at Super Rare. Balikwisha could move to Celtic and things could change there, but let's just say he stays. Like I've got good Super Rare quality. Like I've got star Super Rares in Belgium there that could be very useful. Like I said, I don't have the Unique yet, like the Unique Classic. I don't need one, but it'd probably help. So I might be on the lookout for one of them. But yeah, those are the two comps that I think, and maybe the La Liga, that I'm open to playing. I'm very much open to the thought of playing those. Again, I do have a few more Belgium cards. I just want to show you like the full picture of what I've got going on. I've got a couple of Dender boys, because I had Fusania, won him. Rodez, Sikwe might do well for Bruges. I'm not married to that thought. St. Jago's gone to Mechelen, so he's going to be a defensive stack, I guess, with De Wolf. But I couldn't play them both in season unless this St. Jago was a unique. That would be different. I do have a Jashari, but I think he's probably going to move. If he doesn't, though, there's another tier 1/star rare, maybe, or star super rare. Maziz is not bad. Yari Vasharin on his day. Again, he could move. So there's loads of if, buts, and maybes right now, but I do have a decent footprint there right now. And then of course, this was mainly about the single league comps, but I will just show you my footprints in Challenger and Contender, because Challenger now has like Celtic in there in the Austrian league. And this is my current setup anyway for super rare, as far as what I've got going on over there. I don't have any uniques, of course, but like Livakovic, I don't know what's going to happen with him, but I bought in part of that Rodrigo trade. I bought in like a Quaresma, Gedson, Otamendi. Like, I've got decent cards. These cards can go into, they could go into they have to go into either All-Star Super Rare, really, or the in-season Challenger, let's say, as like the classic smasher for Super Rare, or they could go in Arena. So I do have options here with what I can do. Debast and Quaresma is going to be like my Sporting under 23 defensive stack in under 23. Mats Kohler went to Heerenveen, not Heerenveen, he was at Heerenveen. He's gone to Bromby, which I think could be really interesting. These two lads for Nordjylland are probably going to be mainly in under 23. But yeah, pretty happy with the depth and what I've got going on in Challenger. But again, I'm not like married to the thought of like having to play in season Challenger. I'm pretty happy to just throw these cards into arenas and whatever else. Contender could look a bit bleak. I don't even know what Contender would look like. Ramsey. Yeah, I don't have a ton of Contender. I have quite a few Brazil cards, so they move from Challenger to Contender. Got a few decent Brazil cards in there, nothing crazy. A few Croatian lads. Santi Rodriguez is now in Brazil. Santiago Ramos Mingo. A couple of J-League, but nothing crazy. Obviously, Aaron Ramsey, the GOAT. Astrolago was probably one of my better bets. I bought him 7 months ago, and he's moved. I think it's Granada. I think he's on loan at Granada. Yeah, he is. And he's touted to start for them. So another under 23 keeper there, and he's in the same collection as Yamal, which makes me really happy. But yeah, I'm not looking to play Contender, if I'm being honest. I'm definitely not playing Contender in season. I'll play these cards, like I said, in arenas, in All-Star, and just allow them to just do their thing there. So yeah, as far as in season goes, that is my plan or plans for Sorare 26. Now, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on what I've sort of proposed here. Let me know if there's anything that you agree with, and let me know what your plans are. I'm always interested to hear what you guys have been up to in the off season, and then what you're planning on getting in on. Are you playing limited? Are you playing rare? Are you playing super rare? Like, what's the crack? Very interested to hear those thoughts. I will just briefly go over not that it really matters, but these are my Contender. Yeah, these are my Contender rares. Got like a Depay in there. Jabal's gone to Krasnodar, which could be pretty nice. Suso's gone to Cadiz. So I've got a couple of Contender smashers. Again, if I fall into a Contender in season lineup, great, but I'm just not really married to wanting to do that, to be honest. And then for Challenger rare, who will this be? This will be like the Portuguese lads. I've got a couple of Bromby lads in there, a few Fenerbahce lads. Benacer. Oh, you've got Serie A now in here, which is just confusing, isn't it? We've got Serie A mixed in here. Coachu's just gone to Besiktas. What else have we got? There's Cola rare. They're obviously gone to Bromby. Couple of Scottish League lads, but again, yeah, if I play Challenger rare, fine, but I just don't think I don't know why that's not working, but yeah, it all depend on what cards I win early on, and it also depends on what the prices are of the cards that get released in Sorare 26. For in season, if they're astronomical, then I might sit out for a few months or even a few weeks at least, and see how that goes. Now, of course, there's penalties to that, because if I sit out too long, I'm miles behind on XP. I'm miles behind. Like, I'll be starting in Division 3 in Rare, for example. There's no divisions in Super Rare, which is nice. But, like, I think for the first week of Belgium, like, I think you need to be playing that to get into the division battle, which then allocates you, what division you're going to be in for the weeks, previous weeks that sort of follow it. So if I miss out on that, then, of course, I'll just automatically start in Division 3, which is a bit of a bummer. But the fact that, like, a lot of the money is sort of won in streaks. I don't think it's the end of the world starting low now. It's not as bad as it was last year when we didn't have streaks in Europe. So yeah, that's just another thing to chew over. But yeah, we've been going 40 minutes, lads. I do appreciate that I've taken up a lot of your time. If you are still here watching, you're an absolute trooper, and I massively appreciate you. Yeah, loads more content, coming out in the next few weeks. I've got a scouting video that I'm going to put out, an under 23 scouting video, like a sort of up and coming under 23 list that I'm going to release, but I'm going to release it to members first. So yeah, if you want to become a member, like I mentioned at the start of the video, I think it's $3.99 or £3.99 a month. It goes a long way to helping me. And yeah, I release a few things sort of slower to my YouTube channel than I would to my members. My members get to see everything first. So yeah, I'm going to do a rising stars under 23 list. I've got a few really, really decent gems on there that I think could pop next season. So yeah, if you are interested in that, yeah, go ahead and sign up to the member section. Of course, no pressure. But yeah, hope you have a good day, lads. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.